afternoon. Come back to the permission I was at last week. 25 acres. It was formerly divided into about 5 different fields. Now, today I'm going to try and re-establish where the tree lines were, the borders of the field, and behind me there I'd notionally thought that the tree that protruded was the start of the original tree divide, but it's not. So I've compared the 1950s aerial with the current modern aerial view, and I've got a better understanding of where the trees ran. Furthermore, regarding the token that I said was possibly medieval, put it on my forum group, and they say essentially it's most likely to be post-medieval, so post 1475, but it could fall into a date range anywhere between 14 and 1800. It appears to have a ship motif. It's got a further line drawn on one side which it hasn't on the others. Has pellets, which made me originally think it was medieval, but pellets don't necessarily mean tokens of medieval, so it could be to do with hops. Actually, there's a database being produced by someone called David Powell, and for lead tokens nationwide, and all the different styles and types are listed. There are more lead tokens produced from this area of Kent than anywhere else in the country, and as I say, most of them turn out to be post 1475. The other lead token was found down at the bottom, and that had a date on it, which is quite unusual. When I first took it out of the ground, it said 1797, and I'm not clear if it's HW or IW, but it is known that the Wickham family owned the farm beyond the trees behind me there for about 200 years. In the 17 and 1800s. It's a beautiful day, 16 degrees, 25th of November today. The token with the ship on it was found behind me. And I'm going to also try to see if I can't, because lead tokens are so hard to date, see if there aren't any associated finds in that spot where I found that token. There was a musket ball very close by, but I think there are a few other signals which, because it got dark, I never got to explore. Right, I'm at the area where I found the token with what appears to be a ship, to my understanding, on it lay. So I'm going to see if I can find an associated target. It did occur to me that in the 18th century and the 1750s, there were prisoners that were French prisoners from pirate ships that were associated with the 7 Years' War at the end of George II, beginning of George III's reign. It's possible prisoners may have been set to work in the fields, of course, as were British prisoners in France, and the tokens may have been possibly linked to that, but that's just, at the moment, complete conjecture. I've got a target here. This is my first target, incidentally. It's got a bit of iron tone in it, but have a listen. -6, 18. Let's try the other way. 15 to 21. It's very jumpy. Showing full depth. We'll just dig it. At least the ground up here, it's not flooded, but further down the slope, the holes just fill straight up with water, as they would do because the shore was originally 1,000 years ago, close to beyond just that hedge there. Hopefully we'll get a good 4 hours in today before it gets dark. 12:47. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. It's actually a 50 caliber. Oh no, it's not. It's one of those. I forget the caliber. These are the deer stalking rounds. Modern point. Winchester. .243. Yeah, .243 Winchester. It's a modern. also forgot to mention that the musket balls, the type that I found near to where that ship token was, the brown bess that they were fired from was first commonly used in 1730. This here is a veritable signal quite close by to where I found the token. Have a listen. That's quite a nice signal, 15, 14 depth, full depth. Alright, I think it's just something really small. 16, 17, minus 3. A little bit of non-ferrous in there, but it's probably a nail or something. Hopefully we'll find it now. Yeah, there it is. It's a nail of some description. There's something on it. I wish it had a design on the head, but I don't think so. Yeah, so iron nail. These things can cause mayhem sometimes. They come up as partly non-ferrous in the signal. I think it's due to the shape of the head being circular. The eddy currents like circular things. Now I've gone into jewellery mode just for the area where I found that token. It's a shorter wavelength, which means it won't penetrate the ground so well, but it'll be better at finding small things. Alright, hole number 3, in the same general vicinity. I've gone back to coin mode, so I don't want to preclude stuff at depth. You'll be able to hear that. 16 and minus 5. Let's just dig that and see what we get. It's obviously deep. Alright, what we got? Could be lead, of course. What's it gonna be? Something tiny. Oh, after all that attack, or a piece of wire, could even be a piece of barbed wire. After all that, never mind. Onwards and upwards. I was 17 swinging one way in one axis, and at 90 degrees it was all minus figures, in other words iron. So just quickly try and establish, I think it is going to be iron. Yeah, as we get closer to the target it becomes even completely ferrous, the signal, so we'll have a piece of iron. I suspect, unless it's lead, sometimes you get lead in the iron. Yep, it's another of those tacks. Same as the last tack I just found. There we go. This is a rather nice 17. In the shallow bit, top 6 inches. It's in here. Yeah, top 3 inches. Oh, it's a piece of wire. Not doing too well yet, but we'll keep battling on. Right, got a 12 or 13 in that clod there. Near to the piece of wire, unfortunately. So, maybe another piece of wire. Hope not. This time it's in the lower 5 inches. 10-inch clod. It's fallen out of my hand. It's actually, unfortunately, I think that's a piece of aluminium. I'm not sure at this stage. If I move around a bit, God knows what that is. The 15 from the corner that produced that rubbishy looking thing, that hook shaped thing just a minute ago. What's this one going to be? The signal's getting better as I get closer to it. What have we got? I think that's another blob of lead, you see. Has that got anything on it? I think it might have something on it. Decoration, or am I just getting my hopes raised? I think it's just getting my hopes raised. I thought I saw decoration, it's just a blob of lead, unfortunately. Don't know if that's in focus, is it? There we go. Between where I'm standing here and that corner there was a line of trees, and then equally when I go round to the right there was a line of trees from where I'm standing to there. So I'm going to go up and down this area and see what we find. Rather a beautiful evening. There's a plane above me, spoiling the serenity a little bit. Right, this one's a 6. Oh, where's it gone? Ah, it flew out of the clog there. Oh, button or token? We've got a button there. Concave button. Missing its shank, I think that's what it is. Might be wrong, might be a stud, like part of a uniform or something, but nevertheless, quite a nice find. Quite close to the old power lines there, you can see, only 20 feet away. I had a 15 in this clod. Yeah, the Vanquish copes very well, directly underneath, or close to directly underneath. 15 or 16, down at about 4 to 6 inches. Ah, that proverbial ring pull. I'm a nuisance. Oh well. Right, on to the next. Last one, 50 cal machine gun bullet, shallow target. Either from an aircraft or from a ground-based machine gun, World War II. 19. 50% depth. Right, there it is, 303. So just the last target was a 50 cal, this one's a 303. World War II, I would suggest, although I might be able to get a date off it. Right, 17. Out of that hole there. Maybe some more World War II stuff. Yep, another 303. There we go. Another 303. Iron on one axis, and at 90 degrees it was showing 22. Down at about 9 inches, as you can see. I think it's going to be iron. Yeah, what's that? Bloody great nail. Hand forged nail. There we go, nice hand forged nail. Come into focus. Anyway, hopefully you can see that. At 19. 80% depth. Quickly dig it. There we are. Down at about 8 inches. Whatever it's going to be. something copper. I can see it, can't you? Yeah. Don't know if you can see that. I think it's copper anyway. Oh gosh, what's that? That looks old. I don't know if it is. It's got a high copper content, so bronze. That is quite interesting. Part of an implement or something. It just has a sort of old patina. Oh, has it got decoration, or is that my imagination? Might be just my imagination at the moment. So it's got a very old look about it. Or maybe not a rim. There might be some decoration on there, I'm not sure. That's all I need, a bit of decoration to confirm that it's something interesting. I'm almost certain that's not a machine. Anyway, we'll have a closer look at that later. That could be very old. Interesting to see how long one bar on my detector leaves me. It's now 2:49, so let's see if we can get another hour. This is a 19. There we go. 14 or 15. You can't hear, my Bluetooth's on. Yeah, it's in the shallow bit. Top 5 inches. Top 3 inches. In the grass almost. What's it going to be? Oh, it's fallen out, whatever it is. Ah, it's a ring pull. Sodding ring pull. Right, on to the next. Right, it's a 19. Really pinging 19, but the targets that I found near to here were World War II bullets and cartridges, so I'm not getting my hopes up too much. It's in the shallow section of that clod. Somewhere. It's fallen out. Oh, there we are. Another 303, you see, which is what I anticipated, to be fair. Little patch with 303s. Another 18 in that clod there, from that hole there. Probably another 303. It's a bit of scratch. No, it's not in there. It must be in here then. Something pretty small. High tone for a small object. And I can't see anything. What's that? What on earth is that? It's the smallest thing. For a 19, surely it must be copper or silver, whatever it is, fragment. I just can't see anything on it. Yeah, I don't know. It's a high tone for a small piece. Right, in the bag, we'll look at it later. Right, this is a 13. Something small, he says. Small piece of lead again, I think. Yeah, I don't know. It's got decoration on it. I don't think so. It's a splodge of lead, as far as I can see. Plomb. A 20 down at 9 inches. So, could be a coin, this one. We shall see. So that was down at about 8 or 9 inches. Here we got Edward the 7th, I think. I'm not sure. Give it a quick wash. What have we got? Well, I've achieved the usual objective of finding a coin, which is always reassuring before I go. Yeah, it's going to be first decade of, or second decade of the 1900s. I think that's an Edward the 7th. Correct me if I'm wrong. 15 out of that hole there, which is about 6 inches deep. This is quite near to where that bronze thing was, that we don't know. It's clearly quite old, but not sure what it is. What is it? Is that a button? Ah, it's a goddamn shotty. Shotgun cartridge, and that's a bit weird because there's a non-ferrous tone there, but on its side we've got iron. It's either two items or it's a piece of iron that's shaped in a certain way, making it look non-ferrous. Right, well, that's iron now. So that's going to be a nail, obviously, or something. Yeah, it's another of those tacks. I don't know if they're used for fencing or something. A plain old tack. Right, the battery just failed, so it stayed on 1 bar for that length of time, whatever it was that I put on the video. 4:08 PM. I don't generally pack up until I find a coin of some sort. We'll look at the finds in a moment. Thanks for watching. Give us a like if you like my videos, and subscribe if you want to follow my progress. Right, a quick roundup. 21 finds in total. Ended just because of the low battery, which is my lack of organisation. However, as you can see, along the former fence lines, the trees were pulled out in the 60s, I believe. Got 3 303s. I don't know the date, but possibly be able to get something off that. Probably Second World War. A 50 caliber bullet. Again, Second World War, I would suggest. 3 bits of amorphous bits of lead. I'd said that was aluminium, but you can clearly see it's not. The whole area is covered with these small bits of lead. That one, however, I think possibly might be a bullet that struck something really hard. And you've got a couple of ring pulls, piece of wire. These nails Now on their side they produce an iron tone, and then on end they become non-ferrous, so beware. They also were on the fence line that I was following, so probably to do with fencing. A forged nail and something else, I don't know what, made of iron. The two most interesting pieces, or the most interesting piece I would say, is this. You can't appreciate the weight, it's almost as heavy as a piece of lead, but I think that's the rim of a pan, one of the hanging pans. Could be over 1,000 years old. I've seen similar things from the Iron Age and also in the Roman. And the way it's made is it's moulded rather like from a clay impression. There's the section. So yeah, I'd rather like to think that's been ploughed off the top of a hoard pot. That's kind of my imagination running wild, but anyway, I think that's very old, and it's another one for the PAS. When I get around to uploading all of these things, that there is the 1906 George III penny. It's in very good condition. And that's it. I'll report back on any further findings in relation to the what looks like a piece of rim. It's certainly made of a heavy type of bronze, so it could even be Bronze Age. Don't know if you can appreciate the weight from the sound, but yeah, heavy metal. Thanks very much for watching. If you want to follow my progress on my next trips, please give us a subscribe. The thing I forgot to mention this, that tiny little thing that gave a high tone. It is made of silver. You can see the black oxide, and but unfortunately there's nothing on it to tell us what it was.